So during the WWDC, Apple announced their new iPadOS 16, which brings new interesting features like the new collaboration feature, a better file management experience, and so on. But perhaps the highlight of the iPadOS 16 is the Stage Manager. It's a kind of feature that basically allows people to do multitasking better and more efficiently. And to be honest, a lot of pro users have been wanting this feature for a long time. But I'm afraid there was a big catch here. The fact that you could only have Stage Manager if your tablet had an M1 chip. And so this really upset a lot of people because if you don't happen to have a new device, you're just kind of left behind. Although for Apple, this was kind of a great strategy, at least on paper, to prompt some folks to let go of their old iPad Pros and buy new ones. And if you think about it, if you had bought a 2018 iPad Pro, that would make your tablet about 4 years old. But we all know Apple products as devices that last for a long time. And actually Apple's excuse was that it's the M1 chip, or lack thereof, that's the problem. And when I heard about this, I was like, are you telling me that this Stage Manager is that resource intensive that a few-year-old iPad Pro, which still runs like a butter, can't handle it? But the good news is that Apple has heard people, and now they decided that iPad Pro models from the year 2018 onwards can get this feature too, which is just fantastic. I love it when I see these companies hear people out and actually do something about it. So again, you're gonna need to have at least iPad Pro 3rd gen to get this feature. And this is already available as a public beta release, although they did remove the external display support for Stage Manager, and that won't be available for the older non-M1 chip models. But through an update, it'll become available for the M1 models. Onto another topic, it's reported that some Android users have been able to react to messages sent from an iPhone. So at the moment, if you have Google Messages on your phone and you text an iPhone user, they can react to your message, but when they text you, you can't send any reaction. However, some people who are a beta tester of Google Messages have been able to send reactions to messages sent from iPhones. But it seems like even as a beta, it's not yet available in all regions and perhaps even for all phones. So this is again another great news, but apparently at the moment, if you do react to a message on your Android phone, the iPhone user will probably get a separate reaction message and not just a reaction to the message. So that's probably super annoying as an iPhone user, and I suppose it's something that now Apple needs to figure out how to fix. And by the way, if you want to become a beta tester, it's super easy. All you gotta do is go to the Play Store and find Google Messages, and then somewhere in there you can find the Join the Beta button. Believe it or not, the next Galaxy S phone models will arrive in about 5 months, and now there are some very early renders of the Galaxy S23, S23 Plus, and S23 Ultra. And if you look carefully, you can see this big change screaming in your face, and that's the camera module. So if you remember, the Galaxy S22 and S22 Plus have their rear cameras housed inside this metallic island, which is not dynamic, by the way. So now that's gone, which means the whole S23 line will have the same look when it comes to rear cameras. I know some people don't like the look of the S23 Ultra's camera cutouts, but I'm actually one of those who likes it. Which one are you? And in terms of the size, it seems like the new S23 Plus is a tiny bit taller and wider than its predecessor. The next Galaxy S phones are expected to be shipped with Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 across all markets. However, I've also heard that the possibility of an Exynos 2300 model in some markets is not completely ruled out. Let's hope that's not the case. But let's also have a look at the latest renders of the S23 Ultra, which apparently now has a less curved display. The bezels are also narrower, and the best part is that the two small sensors on the back, one of them being the 3x optical zoom camera, are now completely flushed in the back panel, and the other three cameras also have a larger frame. But here's another cool thing from Samsung in an otherwise kind of awkward presentation. So this week we had an Intel event, and as part of the keynote, someone from Samsung showcased a new slidable display. So it is measured at 13-inch when fully slided in, and you can extend it all the way to 17-inch. Now, I noticed two things during this presentation. The first thing was that the presenter seemed to have a hard time pulling the display, extending it to a full 17-inch. So it looked like as if he had used a lot of force and it wasn't that smooth. But since it's a prototype, it's probably gonna be better when ready for production. The second thing is that to me, it looks like I'm seeing some kind of crease in the extended part. You can see in the footage there is this reflection that was probably caused by the presence of a crease there. So I'm just scratching my head thinking, if that's really a crease, why is it there? This isn't a foldable device. And speaking of foldables, that person on the stage said that, and I'm quoting, "Foldable is gone." You can use such a display to extend your iPhone, Android phone, or tablet, so I can't wait to try it out one day.